Hey guys, me and Razor Ads came on the idea to broadcast the replays of PokerStars, always of big tournaments. For example, the Sun and Mirror, they've got the replays. So I got those and I basically did commentary on those. And I would love to hear what you guys think of it. Maybe you guys would like to have them shorter. Maybe you guys would actually have them full length. Maybe you guys would prefer to have them live so you guys can chat with me. So I would love to know what you guys think of it. Hopefully you guys enjoy, and yeah, please let me know. So first of all, congratulations to everyone who made the final table here. Seen open from Neighborwald, he flopped a double gutter to a king and a 9, 54 kg. Flops a pair of aces and decides to call. Turn is a jack, pairing up Neighborwald. He still has a double gutter. 54k Positiva with right now the best hand, but the hands are pretty close to each other. Decides to bet 1/3 pot. It's now up to Neighborwald, who decides to spice it up. Goes for the check raise. 54k Positiva is now facing a decision with his ace deuce suited and lets it go. Neighborwald with the moves, takes it down. Then up here we've got a blind versus blind battle. Master Beto decides to limp here against Chetzy. Both have pretty mediocre hands. Flop is Jack 5 deuce, double suited. Chetzy with the pair, out flopping Master Beto. Master Beto decides to bet 1/3. Chetzy with the click back. Gets a call from Master Beto. And there it is. The gutter from Master Beto. Turning the straight. Chetzy has a pair though. And the flush though. And there it is. Completing the flush for Chetzy 86. It does go check, check. Does not go for the fin very bad with the really low flush. And the pot goes over to Chetzy. 1W 42-14, staring down a king queen suited. Decides to open it up. Soon 1990 has ace jack and only 6 big blinds. He does indeed go for the shove. I expect to see a call here for 1W. Gonna have maybe our first blood. Kinda coin flip situation here. 1W does decide to call it off. Finds the king, gotta dodge the ace, and just the ace, and he does. GG to SU 1990. Getting for 8.6k. Definitely not a bad investment for $215, but I'm pretty sure he's not too happy about the outcome of that hand. 20 big blinds deeper for King Kenu Fee. Stares down Queen 10 suited. There is quite some ICM situation, so he may decide to let it go. And indeed he does. Peter Woo! With the bear avatar, decides to open it up. 420. Blaze it. Chetzy staying at ace jack. Does let it go, probably due to the massive ICM pressure of Poker Ninja, the short stack being in there, and also some 3 others with around the same stack size. UK Poker Ninja takes an interesting line here, decides to just call. I'm not sure if I like that. Gets not out flopped, but he does not know that. Peter Who is probably gonna c-bet here, and indeed he does. And UK Poker Ninja is probably gonna have to let it go. That's why I personally do not like the flat. And indeed he lets it go. Kenu Fee waking up with aces here. Just gotta love the aces in the big blind. Unless they walk you. UK Poker Ninja is thinking about it. Goes into the tank. I would assume he just lets it go. Neighborwald does open it up. Kenu Fee with the aces. I would like to see just a flat slow playing it. But I think a lot of people just do not have the courage to do so. Like, you're just not gonna have too many squeeze shoves. You do know that Neighborwald's opening a lot though here as the chip leader. And because of it, he's probably also going to pressure you a lot on the flop. So I would not mind to just slow play this and give Neighborwald some rope. But he does decide to move in. And Neighborwald quickly folds. Okay, Poker Ninja finds a hand. That's the short stack. He has only 4.5 big blinds here. Indeed, he does decide to move in. Peter Hu stares down a King Queen. He's getting out kicked. Gotta find a lot. Does not find a runner. And UK Poker Ninja doubles up. Chichi wakes up with Queen Jack suited under the gun. 25 big blinds. Decides to open it up. Not 420. Just 400k. The old school sizing. Peter Hu stares down at Jack 9 suited. Starts to flat. Gonna play in position. Sees a flop. Flops a flush draw and Chichi flops trips. Starts to see bet pretty big. Peter Hu with the flush draw calls. And the turn is a 4 of diamonds. A brick for Peter Hu. Brings a second flush and then Chichi continues pretty small actually. What does Peter Hu does now? Maybe he thinks a jack or a 9 could be good, and indeed he does call. The river gives him a flush but gives Chichi a boat. And Chichi moves all in. What's he gonna do now? Goes into the tank. This is definitely not an easy decision. But he does make the right fold. Jesse picks up quite a big pot. Peter Hu escapes. Chechi with the King Jack decides to just fold with the short stack in the small blind. Maybe he doesn't want to raise, call it off. UK Poker Ninja has Queen 10 here, 9 big blinds. Neighborhood has the 9s though. Would think it would be a pretty standard shove. What is he gonna do? He decides to just flat. Not sure if I like it because what do you do when you get shoved on? He's got a decision to make now. You definitely see this more often on those big final tails. People are too afraid to make the moves, to move all in. I know it's a big spot, but you just gotta play your strategy. Gotta play your game. And indeed he does fold UK Poker Ninja, and Neighborwald takes it down with the pocket nines, the stars nuts. Then up here, UK Poker Ninja picks up another decent hand. 8 big blinds, King Jack offsuit. Is he gonna go with this one, or does he decide to pass up on it again? I don't think so. Well, he does. That is interesting. UK Poker Ninja does find now the ace 3 suited, does decide to go with that one. 6 big blinds and a dream. But looking at the players behind, that dream may not become a reality. 54 kg. Wakes up with ace 10 suited, decides to call. Chechi with the kings, 30 big blinds, decides to just call as well. What an interesting flop. With the fluster out there for 54k positiva, Chechi leads out half pot. Trying to protect his kings. Does block king queen. But he does not block the diamonds. UK Poker Ninja is drawing really slim. So you gotta find running threes or a running straight. And what do you do now if you're 54 kg? With your flush draw, with your nut flush draw. Maybe your ace is good as well. Pretty interesting leader from Chechi. Does he do it with a queen? Does he do it with an 8? Not very likely. You do block the flush draws. Maybe it's queen 8, maybe it's queen deuce. Not also queen deuce, not very likely with the IGM pressure. Maybe he's got deuces, maybe he's got 8s. What do you do? Against those hands you're not doing great. Does decide to move all in with it. And there are the kings, he screams hold, but there is dreams go. 54k positiva, hits the flush, hits another diamond if it wasn't enough yet. GG to Chechi and UK Poker Ninja. Neighborwall decides to open it up with the ace jack. 54 kg decides to just flat with his nines. Two chip leaders battling it out here. And Kano wakes up with ace queen on the button. Does decide to squeeze shove for 17 big blinds. If Neighborwall decides to go for it here, it's not in good shape, but he quickly folds. 54k Positiva, what's he gonna do? Is Kano shoving 8, 7, 6s? That is the question. Definitely shoves ace queen and ace king and ace jack. Oh my god, Kano flops him dead. Flops to Broadway. And doubles up. Folds around here to Kano fee. Playing 14 big blinds effective. And Kano does shove all in, where UK Poker Ninja earlier decided to just flat. Just applying the ICM pressure here on Peter Hu. Even though he's the short stack, there's still ICM pressure. What is he gonna do? Does he have belief in the ace and the deuce? No, he does not. Let's go. Kano picks up that pot. $54k Positiva chip leader here. Does decide to go for a pretty spicy opening. Kano just moves all in with the ace jack and takes it down. And here Peter Hu wakes up with 10s. 14 big blinds on the button. Neighborwall with the 8s. She's shuffling for Peter Hu. Neighborwall quickly shoves all in. Peter Hu manipulating the huts by just not moving all in, but leaving a little bit behind. Seeing all in. 10s versus 8s. Can he hold? Peter Hu. Yes, he does. Boat over boat. But Peter Hu's boat is bigger. 1W goes for a pretty spicy open here with the King 8 offsuit. Not sure if I like that one. I know you're the short stack. I know you've been caught that. But going so wide, that doesn't seem too good to me. 54k Positiva wakes up with 9s as the chip leader. Does put a squeeze on 1W. Puts him in the cage. And there he goes. Kano opens it up with the Queen Jack suited. 25 big blinds. Pretty even stacks behind. Peter Hu with the Queen 10. Goes for a fancy 3-bet here. Blocking Kano's rejam range. Once he does get called though, he's not in a great spot. But on that flop, what are you gonna do when your Kano and Peter Hu's gonna c-bet here? Which I assume he does once you 3-bet pre-flop. So it's a dry board. Indeed he does. Only 25%. But Kano is just not capable of calling there, even though he has a backdoor flush draw. The pressure is real. Kano with ace 10 opens it again. Peter Hu with ace queen suited. Is he gonna keep up the pressure? Would not surprise me. Peter Hu being pretty aggressive on his final table. Opening a lot, 3-betting a lot. Defending his blind pretty wide. He is brawling. And indeed, he takes it down here as well. Peter Hu again, Jack 9 offsuit in the small blind. Playing 18 big blinds deep. Kano, the short stack is in the button, 11 big blinds. Peter Hu applying massive ICM pressure here on 1W. Looks at his King 8, did what she opened earlier, but he does fold correctly. Just cannot call due to the ICM pressure. Then here, King 10 offsuit for 1W. Decides to open it up for 54k Positiva with King 9 suited. If he knew that 1W opened King 8 offsuit earlier, I would quite like a 3-bet here. Just to put up that ICM pressure, because the short stack Kano is still in there as well. He does decide to just call though. Flop Jack 4-3. 1W decides not to c-bet. Turn as a queen gives him an open ender and a flush draw. 54k Positiva, just as a gutter to a 10. Decides to check. What is 1W gonna do? Decides to toss on 1/3 c-bet. Delayed c-bet on the turn here. 54k Positiva. Is he gonna put up the pressure? Check raise? No, he just lets it go. 1W takes down the pot. $54 kg opening it up here with King 9 offsuit. Peter Hu with King 4 suited. Big stacks are battling. Peter Who calls. Both flop top pair, but Peter Who has the flush draw as well. $54 kg descends to c-bet. Peter Who makes an easy call. Turn is really interesting, giving them both trips. Peter Who still has the flush draw though, alongside with it. 54 kg Positiva just has trip kings. The better one though, the better kicker. Decides to size it up a bit. What's Peter Who gonna do? Is he just gonna call? Is he gonna raise? Just gonna call, keeping in the bluffs, and oh my god, there is the 4, crossing 54 kg's dreams. Peter Who with the boat. But 54 kg is probably gonna c-bet here again though for value. Little does he know that Peter Who just got there with the 4. Does indeed go for the value bet. Peter Who. I assume he's just gonna shove here. I mean, the only has to beat him are King 7 and King 6. 7s and 6s do not beat him, as he's got kings over 4s, and 54 would have then 7s over kings, and kings over 4s is higher, but he just calls, which is kind of weird to me. Does he really think he is not folding? That he's not calling king queen? Or 7s or 6s? Seems weird to me. 54 kg is puking. Rightfully so. We're up here with the 8s with Peter Who again. Goes for the 3x open. 1W decides to call with the Jack 10. Flops the open-ender. Peter Who definitely not in love with that board. Decides to check. 1W with a double overpot, 2x overpot shove. I mean, it is gonna work. What an interesting move here. It is gonna move, right? Yes. It is gonna work, right? Yes, it does. 1W takes it down again. Interesting player, opening king 8 offsuit, 2x spot shoving. Spicy. 54 kg Positiva decides to switch gears. Starts with an open limp here. 1W completes a small blind. Neighbor Wolf with the 9-6 suited decides to just check. Flop is 5-4-4. 54 kg flops an overpair, and Neighbor Wolf flops a flush draw. 1W completely misses the board. Does have it back to flush draw, but it's probably going to be too weak to float here. Indeed, he does fold. Neighbor Wolf with the flush draw here. Is he just going to call? Is he going to raise? What is he going to do? Folding seems out of the imaginary. And Neighbor Wolf decides to 3-bet. Bloating the pot. 54 kg decides to call. And look at that turn. Neighbor Wolf pairs up. But 54 kg makes Neighbor Wolf drawing dead. As 54 kg makes the boat. Does go for the bet here. Neighbor Wolf in a really bad position here. Drawing absolutely dead. Hits the flush, but little does he know that he's just not good. Decides to bet 1/3. Just for value, you would assume. But he will get the bad news soon. I don't think 54 kg is just gonna call like Peter Who did earlier. It's kind of the same spot. There's basically nothing to beat you other than 4s and kings, but very unlikely that Neighbor Wolf has those. Indeed, he does go all in. And Neighbor Wolf, what do you do now? Leading out on the river, gets shoved on. What do you do with your flush? Could assume that 54 kg is a better flush. He's probably not doing it with his other pairs. Probably not even with a king. But just calls those. He does make the call though. And gets to see the bad news. Peter Hu opens it up here. Kanu calls in the big blind. Even though there's quite some ICM pressure with 1W and Neighborwald being so short, Peter Hu decides to c-bet. Kanu calls. Brick on the turn. Peter Hu does size it up here, putting pressure on all those 4x and 8x of Kanu, and he does take it down, even though Kanu had just a flush draw. I like the pressure that Peter Hu was putting up here. Ace-8 offsuit, 2 short stacks, and especially the short stack in the small blind. Peter Hu shoves, applying mass pressure in both snapfold. Peter Hu giving away a show here, but can he also get away with this one? Neighborwald, 17 big blinds, the ace-jack. Does move all in, it's 18 big blinds actually. Math is hard, and Peter Hu does not get away with this one. 1W wakes up here with ace-queen offsuit, 7.5 big blinds. I knew the math over there. Kanu with ace-10 in the small blind. Moves all in. Gets the bad news, but he finds the 10. 1W gotta find a queen or a king, and he does not. GG 1W finishing 5th for 35k. GG. 54k Positiva, one of the chip leaders here. Starts to open it up here with the king 9. Kanu with 7s. Quite some ICM pressure once again. And even stacking the big blind. Well, he has a little bit less, but kind of the same. You do know that 54k G will be opening quite a lot here as one of the chip leaders. Yet Kanu decides to just call. Peter Hu with the 4s. Very likely to come just along here as well. Indeed he does. Neighborwald with the a6 offsuit. Decides to come along as well. A nice little family pot. And look at Peter Hu flopping the set there. Checks around here to Kanu with the 7s. Decides to bet his 7s probably to protect his equity. If he gets hands like Jack 10, 10, 9 to fold, it would be awesome of course, as those have quite some equity against your 7s. Peter Hu does of course call with his set. Boats up on the turn. What's Kanu gonna do now? Peter Hu doesn't have too many 4x and deuce-x though. You would assume. In the small blind here. Peter Hu leads out. Can have still 5s though, and 3s, 6s. Ace 4, ace deuce. Ace 3, ace 5 turning into a bluff. Kanu calls and look at that river. Oh my god, Kanu is outboating Peter Hu here. I mean, Peter Hu has a yacht here, but Kanu's boat is better though. Wow, wow, wow. What a run out here. And Kanu takes it down. Absolutely puking for Peter Hu. That is not what you like to see to happen on such a big final table. Kanu opens it up here on the bottom of King 7 student. Neighborwald just calls with the 9-8 offsuit, flops a gutter to a 6 and an open ender. You will know that Kanu will be opening quite a lot here on the button. Yet Neighborwald decides to let it go on a 7-5-4. I would quite like a check raise all in there. Even if Kanu has a pair where you still have outs. If he has like ace-7, you've got 2 overs, gutter to a 6. But Neighborwald decided to let it go. 54 kg opens it up with the ace-9, but Peter Hu puts in the squeeze You're not gonna get away with this one, 54 kg, he says. His 4 kg with the best hand, but does let it go. Could not withstand the pressure. Peter Hu opens it up with 10-9 suited. And here's 54 kg positivo. Queen 9 suited. Kind of the same situation as the last hand. And also 54 kg says, Peter Hu, you're not gonna get away with this one. I put in a squeeze and Peter Hu indeed does not get away with it. And folds. Kind of interesting that 54 kg folds Jack 8 suited here. You just 3-bet your Queen 10. Why do you not keep up the pressure and open Jack 8 suited? That's unclear to me. Peter Hu with the 10-9 suited. Just keeps on attacking those blinds. But he actually mixes it up now. Decides to apply a limping range with the 10-9 suited. Flops bottom 2. Pretty wet board. 54k. Completely misses it though. Peter Hu takes it out 1/3 bet. Peter Hu definitely dominating his table. Mixing it up here and there. Ken Hu opens it up. Peter Hu with the ace jack in the small blind. Short stack is in the big blind though. So none of the 3 big stacks likes to bust before Neighborwald. Which would be massive. It's just worth more to get that ladder than to double your stack in some situations. And Peter Hu took it down with the ace jack. And here we see a shove from Neighborwald, 6.5 big blinds. Peter Hu does decide to call off his ace 8 suited in the big blind. Neighborwald's got to find a Jacko and 9. Jacko 9, no club. And he does not. Peter Hu wins with the ace 8 with just ace high. GG to Neighborwald, finishing 4th for 51k. Now discussing a deal. Peter Hu would like to have 107 plus 5k. Peter Hu wanted 5k more than his stack actually was worth, according to the ICM chops. Ken Hu was fine, giving away $2,300 to Peter Hu for the chop, but 54kg does not want to give a single penny to Peter Hu, so play resumes. 54kg with the needle here. Peter is so greedy. Peter Hu here with ace 4 offsuit. Once again, decides to limp. He's mixing it up between the raises and limps. I quite like it. 54kg puts up the pressure though. Decides to raise. This is kind of interesting. Peter Hu decides to call. They both flop a pair of 4s and a backdoor flush draw. 54kg not in a good spot here though, as his backdoor flush draw is no good, and his 4 is no good either. Does decide to bet half pot though. Peter Hu calls. There is the backdoor flush coming in. They both are probably fist pumping like yes. Spade-a-roo! Spade-a-roo! But first, what are they gonna do on the turn? Peter Hu checks. 54kg. Decides to check as well, and there is the flush. Ace high flush for Peter Hu with the nuts, and 54kg with the second nuts. The king of spades flush draw. How are you ever gonna get away from this? Peter Hu decides to check. You would assume that 54kg would at least value bet this. It's only one hand that beats him. The ace of spades. Goes into the tank. Goes for the value bet. Well, I mean, let's hope Peter is not just gonna call this time. I would like to have a conversation with him then. Because he really has the nuts this time. 54 kg. How are you ever gonna get away with the second nuts? He's gotta ask himself, would Peter shove here worse flush? Would you turn here some 2 pairs into a bluff? Or like 3-5 or something, 5-4, 6-4. This is a question that 54 kg has to ask himself. How are you ever gonna get away here? Goes into the tank. Does make the fold. What a fold for 54 kg. He escapes here. Wow. Picks up aces. Opens it up. Peter Hoover, the 10-9 suited again. 10-9 suited looks fabulous. And look at that flop. Aces cracked. Oh my lord. He's got to find runner. He's drawing really thin here. Decides to bet. Little does he know that he's drawing really thin here. Peter Hu check raises all in. 54 kg snap calls. Gets the bad news. And he does not get the runner. GG to 54 kg. Finishing third for 72k. Wow. That is insane. So we are heads up here. Kenu opens it up. Peter Hu calls with his queen 4. Outflops Kenu. Kenu with the c-bet though. Really small. Peter calls. Turns a 10. Ace Jack gets there. Queen 10. But already had him beat. Basically only Ace Jack gets there that didn't have him beat yet. Kenu bets half pot, sizes it up a little bit. What's Peter Hu gonna do? It is pretty low in his floating in his calling range though. Even though it looks pretty strong there with the queen 4, you do have all king X, you've got better queen X. Kenu decides to limp here with the 10s. So here we are with the 10s, he limps c-bets. Peter Hu flops middle pair on the backdoor flush draw. There's the backdoor flush draw again, and once again, if that flush comes in, Peter Hu has the best of it. Pretty interesting limp here from the 10s from Kenu. Let's continue on the turn as well. Peter Hu with pair of 4s and the backdoor flush draw. So flush draw now. He bricks on the river. River is a 3. Kenu with the best hand still. Is he gonna go for value as well here on the river? He does. Peter Hu does block the flush here. He'll ask himself how many bluffs does Kenu have here. Does make the fold. This time the correct fold. Peter Hu also implementing a limping range here. Kenu checks. They both flop a pair of 7s, but Peter Hu once again with the best of it. They both have a gutter to a 6, but once again Peter Hu with the best of it. Kenu goes for the check raise, which is definitely interesting. Gets shoved on. What do you do now? This is why I don't really like check raising. Unless you're planning to go with it. Gotta be puking now. Is it gonna be over or not? If Kenu calls, he's gotta find a 3. And a 3 only. He's gotta ask himself, what is Peter shoving here? Probably diamonds, probably over pairs. 6-6 maybe. Peter says, if you have a 6-6, let's run it. If you got a better 7, let's run it. I've got a gutter to a 6 as well. I've got a backdoor flush draw. If you got 6-5, 6-4, let's go. What is Kenu gonna do? Does let it go correctly this time, but that's why I do not like the raise personally. Once again, they're trying to discuss a deal. Kenu asks for a deal. They're both kind of even stacked. Peter says once again, if you give me some, I might. The last time the deal wasn't made. What about this time? 117k for Peter, 112k for Kenu. Does Peter agree this time? But he says no. Sorry, let's play. No discussion. I don't care if you give me 4k more. The difference is just too small. Well, shovel up and deal, boys. Kenu opens it up here with the 5s on the button. Peter Hu with the Jack 7 suited. Put some pressure here on Kenu. He's going for the 3-bet fold. What's Kenu gonna do? Decides to lets it go. Doesn't even decide to call and steal flop. Peter Hu, definitely the aggressor here in this heads-up match. Opening a lot, defending a lot, racing a lot. Opens here with 9 deuce suited. Putting a lot of pressure on Kenu, who decided to have a lot of limps when he was on the button. So we see a c-bet from Peter Hu on the flop. Kenu calls with the gutter to a deuce. Check on the turn. Kenu misses his straight draw. Fires a little bit less than 1/3. He's probably gonna get it done here. Or is Kenu gonna be fancy and calling here with ace high? Does block diamonds but and straights. But he does let it go. Peter Hu mixing it up with a limp. Kenu calls with his 10. Peter Hu once again with the best of it here on the board. With the ace, Kenu has a 10. Decides to call. And sees that Peter Hu once again has the best of it. Peter Hu definitely running good. Shoves here with the king 5 suited. He calls from Kenu and flops Peter Hu almost dead. And dead he is on the turn. Double from Kenu. Back to even stacks. Saw a limper from Peter Hu of king 4. Kenu checked. Flop 4-4-3. Flopping trips for Peter. Kenu turned a gutter to a 5. Turn river is a 10. Peter Hu definitely has the best of it here. Kenu missed. What a massive overpot bet here. Kenu, what are you doing? This is either genius or crazy. No way Peter is gonna fold this one, right? There's just no way. He beats so many 4x as well. Kenu has so many 6x 5x, but does he 4x overpot it? We don't know, but Peter Hu does make the call. And wins. Peter Hu mixing it up once again. Limps with the kings. Kenu shoves with 6s. Peter Hu calls, but there's always a 6. And Kenu once again gets away. Escapes. Survives. Peter Hu is crying. Rightfully so. Unluckers for Peter Hu. Kenu says, I misclick. No way. No way the shove of 6 was a misclick. What do you mean, misclick? This is a fine shove. Seen open here with queen 7 suited from Peter. Kenu defends with king 8. Peter flops a flush draw once again. The hearts are definitely on his side. But it could have already been all over if he held there with the kings. Kenu leading out with just king high. Does have the best hand. But not anymore as Peter Hu turns to 7. Got now middle pair and a flush draw. What is Kenu leading out with? You gotta ask yourself. Even if he has a 10, may still get the right outs. Could find a queen, could find a 7, could find a heart maybe. The river is a deuce. He boats up. Peter Hu does have the best hand here. But does he know that? Can you have the heart to continue? He does not. Checks, he shuts down. Kenu been limping quite a lot. Peter Hu may catch up with it, and indeed he does. He's shoving over the limp from Kenu. Both have the same hand, but Kenu with the free roll though, but he does not get there. Chop it up. Everyone loves chop up. Kenu with the limp here, 9-8. Like I say, Kenu would be limping a lot. Peter Hu, Jack deuce offsuit, is indeed catching up with the fact that Kenu's limping a lot. Decides to 3-bet, and it works again. Peter Hu definitely seems to be the more of a capable player here. Open shoves with ace-5 suited, but Kenu wakes up with the ace-queen, and once again flops Peter Hu absolutely dead. Peter Hu definitely not running great in the all-ins. And he says, wanna even chop and play for the 20k. 20k must be reserved for the winner. Peter Hu might be a little bit fed up with the fact that he's running so bad in the all-ins. And Kanu says, okay, I agree. So Peter Hu gets a little bit more than his stack is worth. And Kanu agrees with that. So they make a deal. So we're having a 20k heads up match here now. Peter Hu opens it up with Jack 8 suited. He's opening a lot. But he does not get away with it every single time. But Kanu, every time he raised, he just had it. Hasn't been bluffing too much. Peter Hu limping with 6 deuce suited. See a raise from Kanu with ace 9 once again. Pretty decent hand. Peter does decide to flat though. I mean, Kanu hasn't been raising too much. Pretty interesting flat here. He flops a back to straight or and a flush draw. Kanu with top pair. Bets half pot. Peter Hu says, I'm all in. Kanu calls. Gotta dust a heart still. He pairs up with the gotta dust a heart still, and he does. Massive chip lead now for Kanu. He shoves with 10-4 for 9 big blinds. It's kind of spicy. Peter Hu calls Jack 10 suited. Just gotta dust the 4. Gotta dust the 4 and the 5. And he does. Double up for Peter. Queen 6 versus King Deuce. Kanu decides to just limp again. Peter flops top pair. Kanu flops. Once again, a flush with hearts. Where have we seen it before? Peter Hu is going for the check raise with his Queen 6 of spades. Kanu moves all in. Peter snap calls. Kanu gotta find a king or a heart. There was the king. Peter Hu gotta find the Queen of 6 and he does not. And Kanu wins the Sunday Million of April 8th. Congratulations.